All right, heading into the second part of the chapter that deals with creativity and passion. So, in the first part of the chapter, we talked about the roles of mission, vision, and values, and the statements and what they are and how they are the guiding light for the organization. And so, the second part of the chapter then deals with creativity and innovation and passion, right? So, how do we come up with that brand new vision statement that is different from where we are today? A little bit creating a little bit of discomfort for that excitement to try to achieve something new, so we can have a passion for creating the vision statement in this creative innovative process, and then we have the passion to lead people towards that new goal. So mission and vision are clearly relevant to the, I'm sorry, passion and creativity are clearly relevant to our mission and vision statements within the organization. So what is creativity, right? So your first top left bubble here. Creativity is really about the generation of new ideas. Definitely not just artists or musicians or the creative types that need to be creative. Organizations need to come up with new products and new services, and we need to have a vision that's exciting and new enough that we want to move in that direction with passion and engagement around that. So, for sure, you need to be innovative in organizations too, or you'll die. It's just the way it is today. Competition is super stiff. So, passion, when we think of passion in business, we think of it as an intense driving, maybe overmastering feeling or conviction, and very linked to this emotion, intense emotion that then compels action. So we feel great about it, and we want to move in that direction. So that is the creativity and the passion. So DeGraff and Lawrence came up with a framework that helps us think about creative types or creatives. And these are just different skill sets that sort of go together, and we combine them based on people's individual tendencies. So we are not discriminating, we're not grouping. It's just a way for us to think about creative skill sets and how we can match those skill sets to the goals that we have. Sometimes you want to be market leader, sometimes you want to innovate new big products or services, sometimes you just want to maintain and have continuous improvement. So whatever your goal is, there's different creative skill sets that go with that. And so for managers and leaders, then these are tools that help us maybe recruit or identify or appoint certain individuals depending on what the need that we have is. So in that sense, very useful tool for managers and leaders. So there are 4 types of creativity. You see them here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's not that they're in rank order in any way, but it's just a way for us to be able to refer to them quickly. So the first one is investment, which is external orientation. Sorry, you have the external versus internal orientation or focus, and then you have control versus flexibility on the opposite, making this sort of a 2 by 2. So for our investment goal, we have external orientation, difficult word this morning, external orientation, and we have a high level of control. So this is associated with speed to market, and it's a type of creativity that is fostered by wanting to be highly competitive. So for this one, investment, think Bay Area, think big tech, new tech, startup, crowdfunding maybe. Second type, imagination, novelty. This one is external orientation with high flexibility. This one is all about new ideas, new breakthroughs, big ideas. Think about Apple products being super innovative under the leadership of Steve Jobs. And then, of course, we're going to have to wait and see what happens there. Third one is improvement. How do you get better? This one has an internal orientation, and it still has the high control right over here. So this third type is a type of creativity that involves making something that you already have, something existing, better. So here we are getting better. Our last one is incubation or sustainability. This one has an internal orientation and it also has an emphasis on flexibility. So for this type of creativity, it tends to be more difficult. It involves actually teamwork, engaging other people, empowerment, collective team effort for us to get sustainability, making sure that we're building trust for the longer term to make something sustainable for the future. And as soon as we are dealing with more people rather than one or two, everything will become a little bit more difficult. Not worse, but just a little bit more challenging to make that happen. So now we are going to talk about two different types of creativity tools. We have Scamper, and then we have something on the next slide called NGT, or the nominal group technique. And here we want to look at how we can be creative or innovative in a more structured manner. So we have these two tools, and they can help us develop new ideas, either to write an entirely new mission and vision or to revise the existing ones that we already have. So these tools help managing two different types of thinking. We have programmed thinking, and we also have something called lateral thinking. So for the lateral thinking, this is a thinking process that is about really changing patterns, really changing perceptions that we already have. Sometimes we think of this as the right brain being at work here. It came from Edward de Bono, and in his book from the 60s, The Use of Lateral Thinking. So this one deals with how you reach ideas that you might not get to using a more traditional linear step-by-step or programmatic process. So it's about a creative approach to coming up with new idea generation. So new concept, new ideas, brilliant improvements perhaps. So really radical. So you have to make sure you're using it in the right place, because if you want to use it in a situation where you want stability in a linear process, this can be really disruptive. So think about where you're using this lateral thinking. That's the first one. That is your right brain thinking. And then we also have our more traditional programmed thinking. So we're not yet dealing with the tools here. We're just talking about the ways we can think, right? Lateral, and then you have programmed. The programmed one relies on logic, structure. These are the ways we are in a more process-driven way creating a new product or service. So we are not using our right brain here. We are using our left brain to think logically. So for crafting or recrafting a mission and vision, it means you're going to use this very deliberate process to achieve that new vision statement. And we can also use it for continuous improvement for our products and services to make them better little by little. Okay, so now we have talked about the ways we can think. Now let's talk about the actual tools. So the first tool is Scamper. It was developed by Bob Eberle, and it's really a checklist. It's a tool that is a checklist that helps you think about the changes you can make either to maybe an existing marketplace or to create a new product or new service, or maybe a combination of those things. And these changes can be thought of either as very direct suggestions or just maybe as a starting point for a more lateral thinking approach. So the Scamper one stands for substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to other uses, or eliminate. So you have them here on your right side of the slide. So the first one is substitute. So can you substitute with something different? What other ingredients or materials or places can be used instead of what you already have to create new or additional value? The second one is combining. How can you combine product, service, elements, factors, ideas to come up with new arrangements. The third one is adapting. How can you change, modify goods and services? How can they be altered to meet new needs that customers or stakeholders might have? Then comes modify. How can you magnify, modify, minimize, change the products so they can come into a different shape, maybe other way of looking at it? Putting to other uses. How can products, services be created for one use, that have been created for one use, be changed and repurposed for another use? So something you're using today for A, you might want to use for B. Well, next to last is eliminate. What can you omit, delete, or understate to add value? Is there something that can be removed or deleted? Lastly, you have rearrange. Can you put this in another way, direction, layout, different sequence or pattern that creates new value for the organization and for their customers? The second creativity tool is called the NGT, or the nominal group technique. This idea can be used to increase creativity among groups. So the Scamper tool that we just talked about can be done with individuals or with groups, and the nominal group technique is for groups solely. So this is a way for people that are maybe a little bit shy to be able to have their voice heard. It generates more ideas, higher quality ideas than just simple brainstorming. Brainstorming has a lot of cons with it that we don't normally see on the face of it, so nominal group technique will address a lot of those. This method also builds consensus, and it's a really good one to use when you think that there's going to be some conflict or controversy, because, as I said, it really lets everybody at the table have a voice in the process. So you see the 14 steps on the right side here, and this is really the exhaustive list of how to do the nominal group technique. And you can read the 14 steps. I'm not going to read them for you. But the basic idea here is that everybody comes into the room, you explain what the purpose of the meeting is, what you're trying to do, and then everybody will individually and quietly come up with ideas on their own. So you give them quite a bit of time to think about and generate a list of ideas for the purpose that you have described for them. So everybody comes up with an individual exhaustive list, and then everybody will share what is on their list one by one. No discussion, no evaluation, no jumping onto people's ideas and critiquing them immediately. Everybody will share with very quietly, and then you can move into clarification and discussion on the ideas. So as you can see here, in a normal brainstorming session, you might be quiet because you feel like your idea was dumb or it contradicts what somebody just said. So this NGT technique actually avoids that better than the regular brainstorming. Passion. We just talked about creativity and innovation. Here comes passion. What is passion? Remember, right? This intense feeling or conviction that we have that has this emotion that makes you want to do stuff. So passion matters for vision in at least two, if not more ways. Firstly, passion about the idea. So the idea that we have that will inspire our vision. Where are we going? What's new? Where is our future? And then secondly, now we want to share this passion. We have this idea, we're excited about it. We are the founder, the CEO, we are the management team, and now we want to make it shared. We want to make sure that everybody gets excited. All of our employees gets excited about this. So how do you share the passion to your employees, to any other stakeholder that is impacted by the organization, that is actually that matters for the vision? So if you have passion, you are most certainly will be more successful than if you don't have passion within your organization. Lots and lots of studies show that if we have passionate employees, we can help the business thrive. And passion in an organization, a lot of the time, is the same thing as engagement. If you're engaged at the individual level, you are passionate. So Gallup, our national organization that measures employee engagement, they have been doing that for quite some time now. They're really at the forefront of employee engagement. So they are thinking about employee engagement as managing discretionary effort, right? So you're doing your job, your task behaviors, this is by your job contract, what you're employed to do, and then you have discretionary effort, extra mile behaviors, communications, things that will help the organization. And you can choose to withhold it, or you can choose to give the employee that. Do things that help the organization further its interest or its goals. So, as an employer, certainly I want you to be engaged, to be passionate, because when you are engaged, you're very dedicated. You're absorbed in what you do. You're loyal to the organization. Unfortunately, for American businesses, we know that a majority, about 75, even sometimes 80% of employees tend to define themselves as disengaged or actively disengaged, which is just tremendously awful. Only about 20% feel that they are engaged. 20% with my yellow here, I should have picked a different color for this one. 20% feel that they are engaged in their jobs. That's really quite a low number. So, as Blessing White, this consulting organization, said, engaged employees are not just committed, they're not just passionate or proud. They have a line sight on their own future and on the organization's mission and goals. They are enthused and in gear, using all of their talents and discretionary effort to make a difference in their employer's quest for sustainable business success. So, clearly, being passionate for the vision, being passionate about spreading that vision among employees, having all these employees be engaged, not disengaged, not dissatisfied, will help an organization tremendously. And the textbook that we're using and talking about addresses many ways we can get people from being disengaged and dissatisfied to engaged to being satisfied.